The filter field is which field in that table do we want to apply a filter to. The value is what value do we want that to represent. In this instance, we said less than 0, or greater than 0, I should say. And we actually did a cell reference to grab that value, which is what we were going to do quite often.
Brian, how do I get that window?
How do you get this window? Sure. We just go to our JFX. I just selected the NL. And everything has a drop-down menu. So I can choose what it is that I want. Now, if you're like me and you're a keyboard shortcut person, F6 on your keyboard will drop that down. Again, one of the reasons you might use favorites is scrolling through all these tables. But the nice thing too is if I drop this down, this little search box right here. For example, if I type in the word customer, here is every table in my database that has the word table. Yes?
She doesn't have tables, and I have a fraction of the tables that you do. Is there an issue?
I have no tables.
I have no.
I don't either.
Favorites.
No, there's nothing.
I have no favorites.
Okay, you can get to it in the browser, but you can't get it to...
Oh, do you have to select something first in the what?
You shouldn't have to.
No.
So go ahead and hit OK. Here, I'm going to go under there. So let's go to our browser again. We have access to...
Once I selected something.
Just grab any one of those. For those of you that aren't able to do that, let's...
The funny thing is, I had it, but now I don't anymore.
What is going on? Go to your browser, and let's all just go to our customer table here. Do me a favor and just grab...
It says you cannot use the C program x86 training,
That's
blah, 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 blah,
C-front.
because it's already in use.
Go ahead and close Excel. If it's saying if it's being already in use. Although if everybody's trying to access the same file, that might be the reason why. One of the reasons why we didn't want to do this on a Citrix environment.
The funny thing is if I have the browser open and then I hit the jet function or whatever, I can see all the tables. But if I do it the other way without the browser open, there's nothing there.
So close Excel and open
Yeah,
it.
go ahead and close Excel altogether.
Yeah, now my browser was blank.
Okay.
So you're saying Jet Reports is not compatible with Citrix?
I'm totally
No, it's not necessarily that. But if everybody's trying to access the same thing at the exact same time, I can see how that would be a problem. Scott had said he was going to install this locally on everyone's laptop as opposed to Citrix because we were having problems with Citrix. Now, typically, you're not going to be trying to access the same files and the same this and the same... Yes, you're going to access the same database, but you're going to be connecting the way we're connecting. This is a local database. Everybody's trying to access it at the exact same time. Somebody else is using it, nobody else can use it. And that might be the problem we're running into. One person gets to it first, and then nobody else gets to use it. So let's close Excel, let's give this a try. Hugo, why don't you do me a favor? Open up Excel, open up the JFX.
Everybody out?
Yeah, nobody else in right now.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Paul, what are you doing?
I'm out.
Alright, hands up.
Go ahead and choose any.
Paul was already making a
Choose rows.
Exactly.
Oh, you're still starting up?
Okay.
Okay. Open up our JFX. Choose rows. Drop down your table. Okay. You see all of them?
Choose rows first.
Yeah.
Okay. Now choose a table.
Anyone?
Yeah, anyone. Now Tracy, I want you to do the same thing. I want to see if this is what the problem is if we can't access the same, which will be a problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to leave, just go ahead and leave yours on. Can't access it? Okay.
I can't, I still have the blank.
Blank table?
Yeah, that's what I got
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's accessing the file, means nobody else here can access that file.
See if Erica
Oh,
can
that's
do
a
it. Since
problem.
Erica's was originally good, see if yours
I
works.
think I'm
Everybody's on the same server now.
Right now.
Then it's not a server problem.
Yeah.
Mine does.
Wait, yours works?
Well,
No, it
okay,
doesn't.
it just did, hold on.
Yeah. But we can't have it to the point where one person can do it, and then you do your example,
Okay, you can
and then
do
the
it.
next person do their example, and the next
That's
person do that. It's going to take us 12 years to get this done.
Only one person can access this.
Perfect.
So
First time.
we're going to have Scott basically install. I thought that's what he was going to do, was install these locally on each single laptop.
That's not the way it's gonna be used, so that's, we wanted to do it in the way we're gonna.
Well, it's going to work the same way. Again, it's whether they're connecting in their on their laptop, it's just the connection where it's pointing. So yes, they'll have to log into Citrix to run this in their real time, but the same concepts are going to apply. It's still going to use the JFX. You're going to still use these same things. So
Yeah, long term, what we're trying to do, because this is pulling so much data,
right,
we do not want, we want all of that from data to software happening in the data center and out
That's-
across the line.
that's totally fine. But for this training, we need it locally. There's no way around it at this point. And again, the functionality is going to be seamless. Whether they're pulling from the Citrix environment or right now when they're pulling from the local database file on their own computer, the functionality is going to be exactly the same. So that's why I'm not necessarily too concerned about, well, long term, this is how we want to do it. It's going to work the exact same way.
From
So-
a developer standpoint though, and since there's a limited number of us, wouldn't we want it on the actual desktop instead if we sort of avoid these issues?
No,
No.
that's actually, when you're pushing that much data, you want the software and the database in the same place.
Right.
Not going, not software
Not
here, data
mixing.
there, and going over the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand.
But this is a local database, so unfortunately everybody's trying to access it at the same time, use the exact same seafront file, and that's where the logjam is happening, because everybody's trying to access it at the same time. All right. So, that might, I mean, to be honest, to go through and set that up takes like 5 minutes. You know, it takes, once you get it up on one, we just copy it from one to another, put it on a thumb drive and copy it over.
Should we do it now?
No, we'll do it now. Maybe I'll work with Scott during lunchtime to have that done. Because again, everything we're going to do up until lunch, we're technically not going to do anything within Gel. It's all, we're going to handwrite stuff, we're going to do stuff in Excel.
So we don't need them now. We'll just
We don't need them right now. So if he can wait until lunch, whenever lunch is, you know, typically 12ish, 12:30, whenever you guys normally eat.
11.
Is that?
11.
Whenever that is, we
Got a
will.
bruise yesterday right here.
We'll try and get that squared away. But yeah, get this installed locally on each one. I thought that's what Scott and I had finally discussed because we were running into problems with Citrix in general. My understanding was that we were going to do it locally on each laptop as opposed to Citrix. Now, of course, when you start running your own, it should work fine because it's based on your user login name and everybody's going to be accessing their own seafront and doing all that stuff. So it should be okay. But for today and tomorrow, this is a little bit of a problem.
We're just gonna follow right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we technically really won't be doing anything within Jet until after lunch. Because really, again, we're teaching the process. So right now, all we're going to do is get into the pre-development. I just like to show kind of what we're going to be working with, so you're familiar with it when I start saying the JFX or report or refresh. So we have that frame of reference, debug. Okay. So let's go ahead and close that, so we won't even worry about that, and we'll make sure we save that. We have this idea of relational databases, database queries, filtering. Like I said, we're on page 115 because we wanted to actually talk about the filtering. All right, here's just a sample table. It's our sales transaction table. And we can think of this way, we've got all this data and we want to get a smaller portion of the data. That's where the filtering comes in. We need to understand our fields, document number, customer number, posting date, right? Those columns. The records are individual rows, and no two records should be the same. If we do, we've got some problems. But we usually take this large piece of data and say, you know what, we need to filter this down. And there's 4 types of queries we can do. Let's see if I can remember them. The first one is we can bring back a list of values. We can say, okay, which documents belong to customer 10,000? So if I did that, I would bring back document 103005, because that's customer 1000. So customer number would be my filter field. I want to say bring me back only the records where the customer number is equal to 10,000. So look at that customer number and bring back the records where this value is 10,000. So it's going to scroll down and look for another one, 103001. And lastly, 103018. It's going to bring back 3 things. Let's bring back a list of things. We can count values. How many of my invoices are going to be paid in euros? Well, count the number of transactions where the currency code is equal to EUR. So it's going to go through and count those records and we come back with 3. It can bring back a single value. What was the posting date of transaction 103014? 122. It brings back that single value. Or we can bring back a sum. What is the sum of the sales amount for customer 10,000? So it's going to go through, find all those records, and sum up the sales amount of all those. Those are the 4 types of queries that we can basically get. A list, a single value, a count, or a sum. You might hear them called different things, but those are the 4 major ones. Now when we talk about JET, let's come back here, and we look at our filters in the JFX, it's important to note that we have to put both a value in the filter field, which field in that table do I want to filter on, and a value for that field. We can't leave either one of those blank if we use one. Okay? I can leave them both blank. I'm going to have a very broad question. For example, if I said, rows, go to my GL account table, and this would bring back every single GL account number that I have. Okay? No filtering, it's the most broad question. Bring back all of them. But if I wanted to come in and say, bring me back only my balance sheet, well, I'm applying a filter, narrowing my focus down. So if I put one value on one side, I need to put one value on the other side. I always think of this as my teeter-totter. I've got 2 small kids at home. You can't put one kid on one side without putting one on the other side. Otherwise, it's just very sad seeing one kid on a teeter-totter. So that's how I always think of this. It needs to be balanced. But more importantly, it's important to try and figure out what those filters are. And so that's what we're going to go through on page 116. We're going to go through some example filters. Now in our appendix, way back here in the back, if we look on page, where are you? Page 4 of our appendix, you'll see a whole lot of filter syntaxes. This is how we are going to denote is equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than is an interval, a range. Or the ones I use most often are ... which is that interval. Give me a range, typically is with dates, starting date to an ending date. Or the other one I use all the time is the or symbol. This value, or this value, or this value, or this value. And oftentimes when we think about our filters, we normally talk different than we would pass it into the computer. Give me all the customers that are located in both the US and Canada. Well, if you were to literally translate that into computer speak, give me all the customers that are located in both the US and Canada, it says, okay, I'm going to use an and. Guess what? I don't have any customers that are located in the US and Canada at the same time. We typically use the or. Give me all the customers that are either located in the US or Canada. So you find yourself using or more than you would and. You typically use and with a not equal to US and not equal to Canada to bring back everybody except for the US and Canada. So getting to know those is kind of important. The other ones that are really important to note are the wildcard, that asterisk. I can leave it just as an asterisk. It's a wildcard, bring back everything. Or I can use it to append to letters, numbers, string of values. And depending on where I put that, always starts with CO. So if we look here, I've got one that's star, CO, star. Starts with anything, has CO somewhere in it, and ends with anything. The one right under that is star, CO. It has to end with CO. So it would bring back taco, but not tacos. Starts with CO, ends with anything. bring back Coke, and it would bring back Cokes, because those both start with CL. So those are things we need to know. The question mark I don't use all that often. I think I've used it actually once. And the only time I actually had to use that is, I had a client who differentiated their type of account based on the number of numbers in the account number. So if it was 5 numbers, it was one type of account. If it was 7 numbers, it was a different number type of account, which seemed very, very strange to me, but that's how they did it. And so when we needed to bring back all the accounts that were, say, their income one, we didn't have a way to filter on that. We just said question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, 5 question marks. Right? It has to be 5 characters, but they could be anything. So that's how we created this weird filter. And I was like, that is the strangest way to do that, but it worked for them. You find all kinds of crazy stuff in people's databases. I had one client who used GP, and they only paid for the GL module, and so they assigned GL accounts to products and stores and this and that. I was like, this is the weirdest way to do it. And they only imported sales once a month. So every day, every month, they had 1 day of transactions. Okay, interesting way of doing things, but you never know what you're going to find.